that are specific to the profile of tile. Can everybody tell me what are the 3 profiles of tile?
W,
S, flat. So these components, there are specific components that are gonna be different that you have to put on your material order, that are gonna be different for, depending on the profile. Does anybody know what those components are?
Drip edge.
Drip edge will be the same, whether it's S, W, or flat.
So light? Yeah, so light.
There it is. So light. What else is it called? You guys might not know, but it's either so light, they'll call it so light or weather block. If you're doing it through
So we're referring to the same product, just 3 different names?
so
Well, there's another one.
in SRS, like in the SRS, in AccuLinks, if you're ordering it, it's called weather block. If you go to Elite, if you go to Beacon, ABC, you can tell them so light or weather block and they're gonna know what you're talking about. But yeah, so this is gonna be different. There's another one, it's the same thing, it's bird stop, but it's for flat. What is it?
Tile riser.
Yeah, good shit, tile riser.
These are gonna change slightly too, based on the manufacturer too, not just the profile, so we
Yeah,
gotta keep
that
that in mind.
too. So profile and manufacturer, which you have to specify.
Yeah, like the S tile from like Westlake is slightly different than the S tile from Eagle, and so if you get the Westlake bird stop, it's gonna just be a little bit janky, look a little bit off.
The profiles are all slightly different, so it won't seat right. So these are the 2 big tile manufacturers that we have, luckily for us here in the state. We got Westlake, Boral, and Eagle. When you guys are getting on a roof, even if all this doesn't make sense right now,
You gotta walk back in.
You go to his browser history, it should fix it.
I'll get this place fucking ready. We'll be fucking drone struck. Does that make sense though? So, old Monier tile, Westlake Boral bought, they picked it up, right? So, a tile's discontinued, but they're gonna have components that are the same profile, they bought the molds. So when you're doing a material order, just make sure you're documenting what kind of tile you use. First thing you do when you get on a tile roof, get up there, grab a tile, pull it out. Where are we pulling tiles from?
Oh, right at the eve.
Right at the eve, good answer. Shut the fuck up, Greg.
Field.
Field. Right, where in the field though? Field's the field.
At least 3.
Somewhere in the middle, right? Stay away from the perimeter.
Somewhere in the I say between the 40 and the 40, you know what I mean? You see it,
Correct. Why is that?
I don't know.
They're nailed in.
So tile roofs, the perimeter, they're gonna be nailed in at the perimeter all the way around, and the weight from those holds down the rest of the system. So if you go to the ridge and try to pull a tile, you're fighting for no reason. But sometimes, like Spearhead, they'll nail every fucking tile in. So you might come across roofs where, and this is concrete specific, and you shouldn't be getting on a clay roof anyways. If you're on a clay or sand cast, these are gonna be all direct to deck installations.
If you have a question of whether you should walk a roof or not, FaceTime your manager,
Yeah.
take a picture.
Call your
they'll tell
uplines.
you.
Call your uplines. The last thing we want is you getting up there and fucking blowing out tiles. Let Seek Now or the adjuster do it. What?
Are we putting this online? I know there's some people.
I think it is.
So, yeah, Hassan's recording it, he's gonna put it on his YouTube channel. If you write that up on the board so that everyone can have that
Yeah, I'll write it up on the board at the end.
at the end, yeah.
Figure it out.
Turned it off.
So, we're ordering through Elite, we're emailing it. Again, this is a template. I will get it out to everybody. It's a Word document. If you guys don't, that's the only way I really found that I can save it and change it and just keep editing it and edit it and edit it and get it out to everybody. If Word doesn't work for you guys, get with me. I'm sure there's another format we can save it to that it'll work on whatever you got on your computer. And then if you're ordering from SRS, drying, whatever, we'll do it through Acme. So we'll kind of go through both on here. So why the material order matters. Distributor orders exactly what the form says, wrong quantity ships as a wrong quantity. That's why documentation, guys, is super fucking important. Make sure that all this shit is on your order. If you're doing it through Elite. So photograph and identify the brand and profile before ordering. Where it comes from depends on whether it's still in production. So it's still in production, get with your upline, call Robert with Elite. It's gotta go, the order's gotta go through a distributor. So either call SRS, call Zach, call somebody, and they'll put an order in for you if you need a pallet. If you're doing a refill and you need a pallet, or a half pallet, get with one of them and they'll order it for you, and then, or you can go through, if it's discontinued, or not discontinued, but if it's discontinued specifically, go through RWC. The thing with RWC is, if you're not ordering it new through Eagle or Boral, it's a lot more expensive. But, I mean, if it's an old life pallet or something and they happen to have a half pallet of it, sometimes you just gotta send it. If the customer's not okay with us doing one little facet in a different tile, then sometimes it's just what we gotta do. Also, backup boneyards. There's a roofing company called Johnson Roofing in Mesa. If you guys ever need like a handful of tiles, you can just walk straight into just look up Johnson Roofing, you can walk straight in. They have a pretty decent boneyard. The only thing is you gotta pay, we don't have an account with them, obviously, so just pay, do a back,
Material reimbursement.
material reimbursement form, and then they'll cut you a check back on Friday. Always order extra tile, guys. So if you're doing a refill, right, even if it's 20 squares and it's a Monier, get a half pallet. At least get a half pallet, and so build into your estimates. And let your customers know when you send out an estimate. I always put under a line item, I'll put this estimate includes a half pallet tile. If we exceed that, it's gonna be X amount of dollars, whatever you guys want. It's gonna be another $300 for another half pallet, another 500, whatever number you wanna put on it, put on it. But always include a half pallet. If you're doing a Monier, even if you see one broken tile, two broken tiles, some of them you get to moving them around and they're fucking dust. And trying to haul a pallet of tile, when you go and take a half pallet tile at a time, you gotta drive to RWC or Eagle or Boral on the other side of the fucking world. Makes for a bad fucking day. And you blow your shocks out. It's fucking heavy. You can only take a half pallet at a time and it's a lot of weight. So do yourself a favor, get ahead of it on the front end, and just account for at least a half pallet.
Should we go into the indexing of the tile to be able to see whether or not you need a half or a full pallet, or is that a different training?
Let's do that in 102. Just
That's
'cause-
we should at least cover it a little bit.
Alright, well,
Pigment cracks.
alright, well, come get after it.
Somebody do that at their meeting.
Greg's the only artist we have in this company, so.
You know where this goes. So come do it.
Well, it's better to do it just a tile. Okay, two things go into your, how much tile you need when it comes to refill. The other thing too is I don't give the homeowners an option to tell me, like if it's a discontinued tile, I don't let them know about RWC or any boneyard or none of that shit. I'm like, hey, I cannot find this tile. So there's two tile manufacturers, and I'm gonna try to match closely, and then I'm gonna try to hide it strategically on your roof so you don't see it from the street, right? A full palleted tile is so much, unless I have like one or two broken tiles that I need to replace, which I've never had in my entire life. Usually it's like a half or a full pallet. So in that case, I'm buying Boral Eagle, getting into the job, just using that shit. Okay. Two other variables that you want to consider. We went over QA cracks last time. Everybody know what a QA crack is? Everybody know what a QA crack is?
No.
Where's that tile that I absolutely destroyed last time?
When you jump on.
Yeah, when I fucking smashed it. So here's your head lap, right? Here's your head lap index, right? If you have a crack extending past this head lap, that is what we call a QA crack, okay? If you identify that on the roof, we have to swap out that tile. That tile is unusable, you can't use it for the refill or any tile job. So you have to account for those, right? That's your first one, all right? Your second one, and probably even more importantly, because if you see this, the amount of additional tiles you're gonna need is astronomical. If you're following up on a dog shit roof and you see, picture this not being here, if you see those holes like that, that is a very, very large fucking problem, okay? That means that we have to take these 2 courses and turn it into 3 courses on the new install, okay? So you need all new tile to complete that course. If this is a 200-foot run, we're talking about half a pallet of tile. Okay, so on your takeoff, it's really, really important to document that on your takeoff to increase your waste ratio so that we have more coverage on the reveal on this. Does anybody have any questions about that?
Ask me now.
So can you explain a little bit further what the actual distance of the overlap is supposed to be? Because like, yeah, you might not see the course of nails at the top, if that's what you're showing.
Yeah.
But they're, like, we've run into it a couple times where like, all of a sudden, it's supposed to be, what, like 6 inches and it's 3 or
Yeah.
whatever, and then you're doing the whole course.
So typically on this, you want, a good baseline is 3. Yeah, 3 inches is a really good baseline. 2.5, you're pushing the envelope. Tile is like, from the top of my head, tile on a pitched roof is pretty much the only thing that you cannot run it all the way through the ridge and cut it, okay? You can't do that with tile because your lug pattern has to engage in that furring strip. So what we do is instead is we fuck with our head lap index. We increase our head lap index like this, and you'll see it if you got the eye for it. Next tile roof you're on, you'll see them kind of cheat 1 or 2 courses on their head lap so that they have a termination point at your ridge, right? That's a really important piece. So what I'm talking about here, did I answer that effectively? It kind of
Yeah, I mean, essentially, only because like we had run into it where it looks normal, and it was, what, 2.5 inch overlap, and then you have to do that whole front and side again.
Yeah. A good baseline, dude, is if you see them holes, you got a fucking problem. It should be well past them holes,
Does
okay?
anybody have a tape measure on, by chance?
No, I do not.
Craig's got 6 flashlights and 4 knives.
So at the very least, you want it to be at least 3 inches. That's good.
On most tiles, like, it depends on the tile, obviously, but on most tiles, your holes are gonna be roughly about 2 inches. So you want this to be down here. You wanna have it like an inch past the hole. I mean, if you really wanna cheat it, you can fucking have it at like 2.5 or 2 3/4. But like, even at 2.5, for me, I'm adding a course to that personally. So you really do want it at 3 inches on the head lap. The other thing too to take into account on your breakage is your mortar set. That's your third variable, right? So if you see your ridges and your hips mortar set, every single adjacent tile to that is going to be absolutely destroyed when you tear that roof off. So again, you're gonna need a lot more tile.
Everybody understand what that means? The ridge and hips being mortar set?
Meaning the whole ridge
Yes.
instead of just being the cap.
Yeah, instead of just having the termination point caps, there'll be more to all the way down the ridge on both sides and all the way down the hips on both sides. So getting that off, obviously, you're gonna have a lot of breakage, so you wanna account for that, so document that. So this kind of just broke down. At the end, I'll pull up the actual template and I'll put it in the chat, so you can kind of see. But it's just a breakdown of it, so you have your job info, your name, address, PM, supplier, phone, email, and you wanna have your concrete tile material, so brand and profile, and then how much field and trim tile you want. Guys, when you're doing even refells, give me 15 trim tiles. When you're ordering half pallet or full pallet, whatever it is, get at least 15. If you see a bunch more broken or it's mortar set, then you need to count for a lot more, but just baseline, give me 15. The metal flashings, you got your bird stop or towel riser, drip edge, valve metal pipe jacks, and your underlayment, lumber, and fastener, and sealants. And that's really, that's the bulk of all that.
So how different is it from, say, because everyone's familiar with shingles, right? We look at our Eagle View, we go down to our table, we plug and play our measurements. Like, what are the key differences from tile to shingle as far as our ordering that we'll need to keep in mind as we start pushing these through?
So that's kind of what we went over right here. These are the three big ones that are different, right? So your bird stop or towel riser, and then your soul life and what you call.
Okay. But like, so for instance, with a tile roof, you know, drip edge is going around the whole thing, right?
Yep.
We will have to look at our Eagle Views and identify, right?
Good point.
Yep.
So, does anybody know what big difference between a shingle material order for drip edge and a tile material order for drip edge, what is it? And why?
You don't need the rakes.
You don't need the rakes. That make sense?
Yeah, because our bird stop's gonna go on the eaves, and
It's
then.
Eve only. Why is that?
You got the
Barrel tile.
You got trim tiles covering your rakes all the way up, so we don't need, they just run the underlayment, and you got your cap tile, and it's terminated, right? So eaves, so when you're ordering, you're either your bird stop and towel riser, or bird stop, and drip edge, eaves only. Leave the rakes out, you're gonna have to return a lot of shit.
So you're gonna have to actually look at your Eagle Views, right? Juxtapose that against your familiarity with that property or referencing, you know, the pictures that you put in there and identify the linear feet that you have of bird stop and the linear feet that you have of drip edge. It's not just like we're just gonna go in and look at our drip edge measurements and order that much bird stop. You're gonna be fucked.
Yeah, it's always same as shingle, guys. Get your eaves and add 3 sticks on it. Just have them there, in case they fuck up a cut, the overlap. Just add 3, 4 sticks, and you should not have to make a run specifically for those.
Are you always ordering 3x3 for
Yes.
tile?
Well, most of the time.
Yeah.
So, baseline rule of thumb, guys, 3x3. There are situations where we use 2x2 for T111 or like more like sandcast
Yeah,
roofs.
if there's like an older roof and it's more like Southwest style, has a T111 on the bottom with like no fascia,
Yeah.
the 3x3 will extend really far and look.
It just looks goofy because you just have your beams and then your T111 or tongue groove, whatever, and then you got a 3-inch grip. So if we can close that profile and make it smaller, that's what it is. So if you have any questions on that and when, just baseline 3x3. If you have a more exotic roof of clay or sandcast or something, just bring it to us and we'll get a game plan for it. These one of Drew's jobs just for reference. This is what you're gonna fill out and what your template's gonna look like. All right. So this was an R&R. So for refill or R&R, guys, if you're doing a refill and you're not sourcing your towel through Elite, and you're not gonna have him try to track down a half pallet from either Eagle. Like if you're gonna get it for RWC, you just leave that blank. But document the profile, or leave how much field tiles you're getting played. Do the brand profile, and then break down, go to your Eagle view, and break down how much ridge, hip, and rake you got, and add some sauce to it.
So the ridge, we can plug and play, the hip, we can plug and play, the rake, and does it say that on the Eagle view? Rake and hip?
Yeah, it separates,
Oh,
it
it does?
separates all.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, and the reason that is some of these tiles, it's not gonna all be barrel tiles. You're gonna have, you might be doing a refill and you have 90-degree rake tiles, and then you got a barrel on the ridge. So,
If you have a flat tile too, they're gonna be different on the hip and ridge to the rake.
yeah,
And so make sure you separate those on there.
yeah. But yeah, add some sauce to them so that you're getting it, cause there is break, if you're doing an R&R and they're sending this, there's gonna be breakage. They play bumper cars with these fucking pallets at the supply house, I swear to God, cause the outside is fucking smashed every time.
Alright, did everybody hear what Steve just said? Cause that's a super important piece.
Can you repeat it?
He's telling you that on flat tile, your ridges and your hip tile are gonna be different than your rake. If you don't catch that, I just made that mistake like 2 months ago, cause got so used to W and S, and I just was going and blowing, just fucking go, and I fucking sent in the goddamn material order. I was in Casa Grande on the bill. Oof, it nuked fucking 6 hours of my day getting that fucking new top. So, your rakes, there's little nuanced differences when you go system to system. You go to high profile, mid profile, and low profile. And it's really important to take note of those key differences. Does that make sense?
Can you repeat the difference? So you said the rakes and the eaves are different?
Yes, so if you got flat tile, your rakes and your hips and ridges are going to be a different profile, okay? If you're doing W or barrel, like an S tile, they're actually the same. They're the same. You add your ridges, hips, and rakes, and that's one measurement because it's the same component across the board.
So what's our formula for flat?
Flat is you separate. So it's just like,
Oh, okay.
I would do this across the
Let them-
board so you
let them
don't.
do the work.
Yeah,
Just do hip and,
just do
hip
that
and
across the
ridge,
board.
this number, rake, this number,
So-
and they'll know which one to send you.
On our order, we're just plugging in our linear feet?
Yep, put it, and then add some sauce to it. Yeah, let them do the work, guys. Don't try to do, for now, don't try to do the calculations. Separate your ridge, hip and rake. Add 20, 30 linear feet or whatever it is if it's a long run, just so you got some extra for breakage, and then they'll, at Elite, they'll do the math for
And
you.
that's the one for the flat tile there?
This is an S profile, but this is across the board. Just do this across the board, right? Doesn't matter if it's S, W, or flat. If you're ordering new tile and it's going through Elite and you're working off this template, just separate it for
If you
them.
get in the habit of doing that, you'll never get burnt on
You
a
won't-
flat
yeah.
because you were doing it the other way for the
Yeah.
other two profiles.
If you're checking your material order. So if you, when you're on site, checking your materials, which you should be doing every single job that you're touching, correct? So, when you go on site, check your materials, make sure that that is two different components. And that's how you catch that.
The rake's just like a 90, and then the hip and ridge kind of more looks like just a tent
barrel.
or something. It like comes up and then there's like a couple inches at the top. So,
But yeah, just document it, separate it, and, they'll do the work for you. So, we got metal flashings, vents, pipe jacks. You already tell me what is different about pipe jacks on tile roofs versus shingle roofs?
Two pieces.
Okay, which one's galvanized, which one's aluminum?
That's a good question, thank you for
That's a good fucking answer. I like it.
Cooked his ass, dude.
Got me.
Damn, God is it.
Anybody?
Galvanized.
Yep, so, the deck one, galvanized, right? The top one, why would it need to be aluminum?
It's a more malleable metal so we can bend it in to fit the profile.
Correct, right, it's gonna be tucked, we're gonna be forming it to an S shape, or the W, or it's just gonna lay on top of the flat, right? So, lead or aluminum, order aluminum, lead's fucking expensive, don't do it.
Don't
Yeah,
lick it.
unless it's- yeah. It'll wind up like this. So, we got your bird stop or towel riser, depending on your profile. So again, which ones do we use bird stop for? Which profiles? Two profiles.
S and W.
S and W, right? Flat, towel riser.
Manufacturer specific.
Manufacturer specific, good point. So, your Eagle bird stop's gonna be different than your Morrow bird stop. Bird stop. So, say if I got 290 linear feet of eaves, probably getting 32 pieces, or 280, no.
Cause 29 gets you to 290 feet, but he's adding three
Adding three.
extra sticks. for
Get another
waste.
30 feet, so I'm not making a material run for, if I don't have to. I gotta take back a stick or two or throw it away. I'm on the other side of town, like this is just stuff that, these tile builds can get weird real fucking fast.
Real
especially
fast.
Even if you're pretty good about documentation, guys, shit happens. So like, getting familiar with the little different nuances like Greg was saying, and what's different, hone in on that, and like it's gonna save you, if you can dial this stuff in, and then the flashings, it's gonna save you a lot of heartache in the field. Cause you will have a bad fucking day, a bad time. So your bird stop, towel riser, add some sauce to it, same with, so your W valley metal, if I got 80 linear feet of valley metals, or valley, I'm getting 10 pieces of valley metal. Does that make sense? Add a couple. Your base pipe flashing, so these are gonna be your cones, the galvanized cones on the bottom, and then your pipe jack, same thing, it's gonna be aluminum. What is different, what's another difference between these and a shingle roof, as far as your documentation?
Well, they have to be specific to the diameter. You can't put an IPS on them.
There's no 3-in-1s. No 1.5 to 3 inch. So, when you guys are inspecting these tile roofs, unless you wanna go back 2 or 3 times, or make extra material runs, measure all your pipe jacks.
So the
When you take
translation is, like, when you're inspecting your roof, your takeoff sheet will be different. You'll have to identify, you know, the specific diameters of those pipe jacks that are out there, 1.5, 2 inch, 3 inch, and so forth.
Who's doing takeoff in this room? Raise your hand.
Takeoff sheet?
Yeah. In my opinion, you should not be touching a tile roof if you're not running a takeoff sheet. And it's nothing against your guys' ability. Tile gets so fucking complicated, especially when you get into like your wall abutments, building envelope tie-ins. If you are not documenting and accounting for that shit, I have seen the worst of the worst jobs in Pro West. And it is always because somebody doesn't do an effective takeoff sheet on a tile roof. So if you're not doing that, you should be doing it. Absolutely. Do not go after tile unless you got that as a part of your process.
Especially R&R. We're working insurance, doing R&R, it can get real sketchy and real tricky, and you can lose money. Instead of you either make a shit ton of money, or you can lose money really fucking quick, not paying attention.
15 minutes of thorough documentation on that roof after you've signed them up, when you're doing your inspection, is gonna save you a world of headaches moving forward. That's, in my opinion, that's the thing that separates a good project manager from a great project manager, is a proper takeoff sheet.
Yeah, if you're in a rush, guys, take fucking 450 photos while you're up there. It takes another 5 minutes. Like, you can get with your upline later and we can figure it out, but if we don't have those pictures, and you're lost, and we're trying to go through, then I'm like, and you're on a timeline, you're on a crunch, I'm like, well, dude, we can't do anything with this. You gotta drive 2 hours the other way, burn a whole day to go grab photos that you could've got when you're on the roof initially. Document.
I tell the guys on my team, nobody will ever tell you you took too many pictures, but they're sure as hell gonna tell you you didn't take enough.
Yep.
But I thought we can't, get on top of the tile, not to step on it.
So concrete, you can. You can step on concrete when you, I guess a lot of you weren't here last time. When you guys are stepping on concrete, where do you think I should be stepping?
Right
On
in the middle.
third.
Right in the middle of the
Right
tile.
in the middle, right there. Especially if you're Greg's fat ass. Step right here on the headlap. I was talking about that 3-inch headlap. Walk on that. You won't break the tiles.
I mean, you might still,
You
but.
might, well, again, if you're great, you're probably breaking the tiles. Walk the headlamp. If it is clay, if you're not sure it's clay or sand cast, do not step on that roof. Call your upline, we'll drone it, we'll help you. Do not fucking get on it.
That's how I heard it.
Huh?
I just heard that I'm fucking
Yeah.
huge.
Again, drip edge, same thing, baseline, 3x3. If you have a question, if it's a weird, there's no fascia, get with us, we'll figure it out. And then dormers or O'Hagan's. Everybody know what O'Hagan's are? Do we have any O'Hagan's on this?
Yeah, you got one right there.
No.
Half of it? Well, just, he's gonna go look for an O'Hagan, but not everybody's seen the big Johnny dormer vents, right? If you're doing a brand new R&R and insurance pays you fucking $100,000 to redo these people's roofs, put them in a fucking O'Hagan, a low profile O'Hagan.
If you can, sometimes when you'll rip that off, it'll have that big box hole in there. Order O'Hagan's. If you rip it off and there's that big boxy hole, you're not gonna be able to use them. You'll have to go run and get some O'Hagan's, but just order O'Hagan's.
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna get to next, good point. If you do that, just know you're probably gonna have to have some wood on hand. Like if this is a customer that you really wanna do a fucking good job for and there's fucking 6 O'Hagan's, go get 6 sheets of plywood and order these people O'Hagan's.
What's an O'Hagan?
He's gonna go grab one right now. It's ventilation.
So it's one of those low profile, it's like a low profile flat bench, where instead of sticking off like a big dome, it kinda hugs the profile of the slope of the roof.
You ever looked at a tile roof like a W and then you see kind of a different color and what doesn't, like it looks like a tile but it's not? Right. You know, that's an O'Hagan. It's just active, it's ventilation. Greg's gonna go grab one, but.
The dormer actually.
So, yeah, get wood, do right by them. If you don't, whatever. But if you order, make sure you're ordering your dormers to the color you want. If not, have a shit ton of spray paint. Because it's a lot of ground to cover with spray paint. Or go get a gallon from Home Depot and have them hand paint them. Or you hand paint them while they're working. It's gonna save you. If you spray paint, if you get stainless steel dormers, you're spray painting them, you're burning fucking $200 in spray paint. Get a gallon of paint and hand paint them.
I don't think it's necessary.
No.
It goes at the top of the, yes.
Again, same thing with your T-tops, right? You have your galvanized base cone, and these will be separated in your order. So if you have, yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt, man.
Yeah.
Somebody's car just got hit out front. There's also a
Okay.
black AT4 that needs to be moved. It's on the curb. There are two trucks parked in the curb. A little silver car just got hit though. Just got hit.
At the turn.
Truck didn't get hit. Little car got hit though.
Is the big green ZR2 okay?
Oh no, that was awful. Luckily I got the other truck's license plate. Yeah, he probably stopped way down there, but a couple of trucks.
I mean, we could-
Make sure, whoever's got them parked out there, make sure you're facing the right direction, because if your shit does get hit and you're facing the wrong way, you're fucked.
Yeah. Thanks, Marshall.
Thank you.
Alright, so here's an O'Hagan. There are 2 pieces. This is gonna go over your ventilation hole. They're gonna have some low, some high for intake and exhaust. This is O'Hagan for a flat profile. See that little slot right there? It's gonna slip into the course below. But that just gives you an idea what it look like. If it is a W profile or S, it's just gonna be formed in that tile. And the same thing, but it's gonna match the profile, so make sure you're documenting that one and one. But yeah, same thing back to the T-tops, galvanized base cone, and then aluminum top, either 4-inch or 7-inch. So again, document, right? Don't listen to that shit. I guess we'll get into it a little bit. Who's done a refill in here? Okay, what kind of underlayment are you guys using?
He's mechanically fastened and I say.
Okay.
Paper towels.
Paper towels.
15-year warranty.
So, I don't really wanna get into this too much, but we'll just give you a little baseline for you guys that are bidding, that weren't here last time, that are bidding, refills. So, let me tell you, what's the difference between this underlayment, this Aprox CXL, and then these two, the CMI 2.0 and the Beer Super Tack?
Mechanically fastened.
Yourself in here?
This is mechanically fastened. And these are self-adhering. Alright, so a good baseline, guys, if there's not a bunch of weird shit going on, with this shit, it's what, 95 a roll for 4.5 squares, 4.5 squares of coverage. What do we have, see mine, 110?
Yeah.
103.
103?
You sure?
I think so.
I think it went up.
I
I think it's like close to 109 or 110.
I think it was all something like this.
Oh yeah, we'll be for as soon as price go up, we but I think beer, we're like 103.
Yeah.
103 for beer.
It's 2 squares.
Yeah, and what's the difference, another difference between these and that one as far as coverage?
1.8.
Yeah, what is this supposed to, it's supposed to be 2, right? These are supposed to be 2, you're really getting like 1.7-ish of coverage. Same with the beer. So, for 95 bucks, we're getting 4.5 squares of coverage with this. For 103 to 110-ish dollars, we're getting 1.7 squares of coverage with that. You see on a large roof, like, not even a large roof, you're saving a shit ton of money.
It's the same warranty.
And it's the same warranty, they're both limited lifetime. So same warranty, and if you need to be competitive in pricing and get down from that 500, you can do that, just get with your upline. Let's make sure there's no weird shit going on that's gonna fucking tank your job.
They also need, there's a white, GMC, like, cream color in the
Yeah.
corner, needs to be moved.
So yeah, if you need to be super competitive, guys, commercial or just like fucking, you're bidding against other people, get with us, get with your upline, get with Drew, get with whoever, and we'll go through it. But this is a good baseline, and then you can do adders from there, 2-story. Another thing to look out for, if you guys see, a lot of you weren't here last time. You got pictures of like 1x4 index up?
Love that other training too.
So the years of just been $103 a square.
When you guys go to pull up to an inspection, before you get on the roof or when you set up your ladder, check the E. If you're going through a neighborhood and you see drip edge, but you don't see bird stop on an S profile, but then you're cruising through the neighborhood and you notice like a couple other houses have bird stop, that's a pretty good indicator that you're in like a 20-plus-year-old neighborhood that all got built at the same time and like people are starting to get refills. These roofs are starting to fail. So my point to that being is if you see that bird stop and you see those don't have it, what they'll do, because there's nothing acting as a tile riser. So if nothing's holding up that last course of tile, and you guys will probably see it if you start paying attention. You're driving around, you see the last course of tile, looks like it's fucking dropped and hanging. There's nothing holding it up. So they just fucking Sometimes what they'll do though is they'll index that 1x3 or 1x4 on top of the fascia up to act as a tile riser. But when they do that, what they're supposed to do, there's like a little 1/2x7 flashing that'll hang over the face a little bit, and then it's like a 7-inch flange into the field, and then there's like a little foam pack, styrofoam under it. Why is that gonna be a problem when we order bird stopping or tile riser?
Well, it's already raised.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do we have to do?
Lower it down.
So if you have a big house, shut the fuck up. If you got a big house with a lot of eave, and your roofing crew's gonna charge you $3 a linear foot
Re-index it.
to re-index this 1x3, 1x4, you're bidding this tight, cause you're competing with other roofing companies, and you take, purchase it.
So translation, this is something you should be putting on your takeoff sheet when you come down off that ladder, lifting that up, see what's going on, snap a picture, put it on your takeoff sheet.
Blake, I see a lot of houses that don't have bird stop, but they have solar. So is that an indicator that they've also been done already?
That's an indicator that the roofer just kept the goddamn anti-ponding detail.
Yeah, and if you see that, that's probably what they're doing, is they raise that fascia, or not fascia, they raise that 1x3, 1x4, and they probably have that, 1/2x7.
Is it now code that you have to have bird
That's
stop
still an acceptable
to not have it?
if you do it that way. If you have that 7-inch flange and the foam pack under it, like, you can still do it. Yeah. I don't know if you guys can really see that, but you see how that 1x4 is indexed up?
How would the organic debris and mud and everything escape if there's just wood sitting there?
Well, so they got that flange from that drip is going like 7 inches into the field with like styrofoam.
Oh, so theoretically
So
ramp up?
it should get up.
See the little triangle piece?
Yeah,
That's like that foam.
but it still has to fight gravity as opposed to what we would put on there where it has drainage holes correct coming off the plane of the decking.
And when there's
You're not getting out of here without the browser history. That's our reward thing. Oh.
somebody's for sure going to that. Your browser history is
There you go. So, I'm gonna walk this around. Here,
We have to they have to index.
this is what we're talking about, so this is your anti-ponding strip, right? So like, you see how the fascia board, the main fascia board right here, and then there's a little 1x3 that's indexed high right there. So that's what you're looking for. Now, this is the only quote I could find in a day. You see how there's a little 1x3 indexed higher?
As long as it's not all shut up.
So you need to account.
For all of that. So you think especially
You need to account for
rain, it's not gonna have.
So when you see that 1x3 indexed high with no tile riser, no bird stop, that's when you have to have like a solution to that. Does that make sense? See that, how it's indexed higher on that eave detail? See that? Yeah. So there's two solutions to it, right? If you're trying to bid it tight, realistically, as long as there's no like oxidization or like the flange isn't fucked up, there's been times where we can actually reuse that drip edge, right? Because the drip edge on those anti-ponding details, the drip edge comes back like 6, 7, sometimes 10 inches, right? It depends on the pitch. So to keep that anti-ponding strip and the drip edge, it's not such a bad thing because we're gonna go right over with the new paper anyways, you know what I mean? If you're trying to bid it tight. How I run my jobs though is, it's only on your eaves, you don't have to fuck with the brakes. Take that shit, re-index it flush to the substrate line, and then just do the proper appropriate detail of the tile riser and drip edge. That's the proper way to get it done.
But I know that, you know, some homeowner comes and they're gonna wanna, you know, do some wild shit and get it tight.
There is situations where we might have to stay in that detail. If you've ever seen the big decorative stucco, like pop-out shelves? That come out all crazy? Right, so this is all just fucking chicken wire and styrofoam beneath, right? So if we're only going 3 inches back and trying to fucking put nails in, there's not much room. So that's when like the 7 to 10 inch plan, depending on the pitch, we want to get back and make sure we're nailing into something that's gonna hold. So if you see those big decorative shelves and pop outs, get under the tile, put your hand and run your hand back, and you'll feel the metal just keeps, the drip just keeps going back. And then just put that in your takeoff sheet, take pictures of everything, and we can figure it out.
If you have, does everybody know what he's talking about with those shells?
Yes.
I know.
Probably the majority.
No.
Majority of, a lot of, Paradise Valley and more, your sand cast homes.
All over.
Scottsdale.
Cause if you have that on a job, you should probably call your upline like me. It's, those things are a motherfucker.
Basically, if you're looking at it, instead of fascia, there's stucco.
Tomorrow I'm going to the track.
How do we not?
You're gonna be seeing 5 to 10. First speed. Yeah. At least 6 months. I'm screwed.
Just for reference, guys, so what I'm talking about, if you see, you got your fascia board right here, you'll have like a piece of 1x4, this won't be here, the drip and burn stop won't be there. And a piece of 1x4 that this last row of tile is just sitting on top of. Does that make sense? You ever picture that? Yep. See that, Joe? So take away the drip and burn stop in your head, there'll be a piece of wood right in there, that's holding that up.
Does the
So we
wood
see that?
also have the curves in it?
No, it'll just be, they just index up to hold it up, and you'll probably have that metal, you can barely see it hanging over the front edge, and then it's going like 7 inches into the field. Yeah.
Alright, this is that stucco shelf that we're talking about, guys.
Show them or.
That's a rake detail. You see how it comes out and has like 3 different fucking grooves in that shit? If you see this, you should probably call your upline immediately. Okay? Because flashing that is an absolute fucking nightmare.
See?
You got it?
Trying to get my good view. So those, like the little 3 things right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of the times it's on that termination too, where we're gonna run into the majority of our issues, right? That's why I took that specific photo for warranty purposes. Cause I had to fucking cut out all that stucco, get my flashing behind that lath, and then paper it, re-chicken wire, re-stucco, refinish it, repaint it.
So you had to call a
Sounds
stucco
like a lot
guy.
of work and a lot of money.
You
A
did
lot of
that?
fucking work and a lot
So
of.
you had to hire someone to do it, or you had to subcontract that part out?
Yeah, yeah, I don't wanna fucking do that. But yeah, like those types of things, man, like that's the reason why I'm trying to go so heavy on the emphasis to take off when it comes to tile. Cause like, I don't wanna have to deal with all this bullshit. I don't wanna have any of my brain space fucking dealing with vents and pipe jacks and all this fucking nuanced like shit that I don't need to be focused on, right? I need to cross that shit out on a piece of paper, dial it, and then focus on what's important, which is this will fucking bankrupt your job. Okay?
Tens of thousands of dollars for stucco work.
So
Pretty quickly.
with that being said, right, what's a good, baseline cost per square foot to address that and do it correctly, so we can, you know, when we're ballparking our homeowners, we can explain to them why.
I would tell them, I wouldn't even give them a ballpark, say, hey, I gotta have my guy, I'm not a fucking stucco guy, run into this a lot, but I have my guy come out, he's gonna bid it. And just hook them up and have them pay them, or you get your bid and add your, you know, 30% or whatever, so you're not losing money. That's for you to have to decide.
And if they say is there a less expensive workaround, what do we say?
What is the less expensive work? Well, for that situation, no, but if it's a.
Put them into shingles.
Put them into shingles.
So like less expensive, so like it depends on the situation, right? The reason why I don't give numbers when it comes to stucco, even myself, is there's hundreds of ways of doing stucco. There's synthetic stucco that's color matched. There's, you know, dude, it gets so far down the weeds, and I'm not a stucco professional, right? Like I can navigate and I can dabble, but I don't know, I've never trialed stucco on a day-to-day basis. So I just bring on the professional, get a bid from him, make sure it's all proper. And then in terms of a cheap way to navigate it, it depends, it's all situational, right? What I just showed you makes it so that there is no cheap way to navigate that. Okay, like that one little tiny detail makes it so that we cannot go, there's no margin for error. Like we have to do that stucco. If the stucco is flush and then you have a soffit and a fascia board and it's all like clean, at that point in time, we do have options to where we could go, we could run a new set of flashing on top of the stucco and then terminate it with a 1/2x5 counter and then seal it in. But at that point in time, you gotta kind of look at the ethics behind that, right? If it's a refelt, I get it, you should definitely like run it that way because they're paying, you know, $550 a square for it. If you're getting paid $250,000 to do a fucking roof, and you do that, ethically, I have a problem with it, ethically. Like at that point in time, like you're kind of being a greedy cunt. And I'm not calling anybody out, that's just my opinion. But we should probably address the stucco if we're getting paid $250,000 on a job.
These are also things that he's talking about with the right documentation. I mean, you get insurance to pay for it.
Exactly.
Well, the reason I brought that up is because obviously refelts, and we've already seen this year across the board, refelts are starting to be a big market for us. So if we are bidding a job retail, how to, you know, bake that in.
Yeah, we get back into we probably need to do another one, because we're missing a lot of guys last time, but, yeah, we might need to do another 101 and then get into 102, with everything going on, but, to that point, kind of a little off topic, but, your sidewall flashing, guys, when you run into that, when you're doing your documentation, after you pull a tile, document that, measure it, take your photos. First thing you should do, go to a sidewall. Does everybody know what a sidewall is? Roof to wall flashing, right? So where, on a shingle roof where step flashing would be, there's not step flashing, there's J-pan. But what you're looking for is a little piece of metal built into the stucco, about yay big.
Can you draw them like Greg usually does?
You're looking for that little piece of metal.
Is that a serious question?
I mean, for those that don't know what the fuck, I mean, we're passing over J-pan and
So-
Z-bar and all sorts of shit that guys may have never seen before, but.
That Z-bar is important because that's a counter flashing. And if it's built into the stucco, we can reuse it.
Who put all this shit?
Why are they there?
Who fucking put all this shit here?
Like, why, what
Get
was
out
the
of here.
purpose? They're for sitting, obviously. Jesus.
Who put it here?
Okay, so this is the one.
That's a little piece of metal, yay big.
Well,
Right.
what you can see is J-bar. But it goes this way and up and it's stucco.
To Greg's point also, just so if anybody has never seen that Z-bar, depending on the stucco installer, you may not see this shit. you're supposed to be able to see this little kick out, like the drip edge, but some fucking stucco guys bring stucco all the way down to the bottom of the, so you gotta actually put your fingers on it to feel that there's metal underneath that. If you see stucco coming down and then it jogs back in, like put your, RJ,
Look underneath there.
put your fucking fingers
Oh,
on it.
yeah.
And give them a little tap, let them know if there's some metal under there, you know?
Side to side. and really-
Cause if it's just stucco, you're talking upgrade city, right, Danny?
Does that say wall cladding?
Okay, so let's go over this, right? So here's your roof deck,
Sorry, Blake.
here's your wall lath, okay? Here's your wall cladding, here's your underlayment tie-in. Do you notice how that goes 4 inches up the wall? That's your minimum. We have to put it 4 inches up the wall. That is a code required detail, all right? Here's your J-pan, right, on top of the underlayment. Does that make sense? Here is this, our saving grace. This is called the Z-bar transition, okay? All you're gonna see is this guy. It's gonna look like it's gonna look like a piece of drip edge, right? It's gonna have a little kick out. That's all you're gonna see.
Sometimes.
Most of the time, I would say the vast majority is gonna look like this. Sometimes they bake in weep holes into it, and from the stucco lath, it kind of gets complicated
Some
sometimes.
people
but-
fucked up and stucco it or painted, you know, like.
Yeah, yeah. So on this detail though, if you see that, we're typically pretty good, right? In terms of like our walls, because we could flare up that flange and we can manipulate underneath, like tie in new underlayment, get flashings underneath there, you know, make sure that it's a proper detail. Now let's talk about the no bueno one. Does everybody have that? Anybody have any?
That's just for a sidewall?
This is for a sidewall.
So-
Sidewall detail.
To kind of dumb it down a little bit, that is important because we are replacing this J-pan when we're doing, again, so that's like your step flashing for tile. It's a solid piece of J-pan, it's gonna run down that sidewall. We have to replace that, and we have to get that underlayment out, right? If that's there, we can just, that's our kind of flashing's there, we can just slide it all back in and keep it pushing.
So
Does that make sense?
it goes underneath, in between the wall, like the wood, and then the stucco.
Yeah, so
Yes.
just,
Yeah.
tuck her out.
Let's talk about the no bueno one, and let's talk about getting it approved from insurance carrier. And I'll talk about the monetary benefits. Is Chad still in here? How much do we get paid on lube? Was it 30 a piece? or
Just
something?
30 a piece for like a
30 a piece. So
38 square roof.
remember that number. So this is the no bueno detail.
Not bad.
No bueno. So this component is no longer here, okay? And the wall cladding and the wall cladding goes all the way down to the J-pan.
It's built into the building
Yes.
envelope.
Yes. So that, if you see that without any Z-bar, that's a very, very, very big problem. Like a astronomical problem, yeah.
Is that not code?
No, it's a code accepted detail for sure. Is it the best way to do it? Absolutely not. You got a vast amount of water coming through that J-pan, and it's gonna be exposed to that stucco, and stucco is not designed to see that much exposure in those J-pans. So I see it all fucked up all the time. It's the same, like if you work up north, like a lot of you guys have, it's the same thing as like a siding detail coming all the way
With that,
down
with
to
that
your.
wood paneling, you'll see that
Yeah.
it's all rotten and.
It's all rotted, yeah. It's the same concept as that, is my point. So when we see this is the no bueno detail. If you see your cladding go all the way down to the pan, you wanna document it, you wanna raise red flags, you wanna call myself, call Blake, call Drew, like get some other people, a chat, like, get some other people involved that know how to navigate that, okay? How we get this approved, the reason why we brought up Lou is both of us made 30 grand, how big was that roof? Was it like 38, 36?
Yeah, it was 38, it's like 40 something with waste.
Yeah, so 38 square roof, we both, took home about 30 grand a piece, okay? The reason why we were able to do that is because I got overhead and profit approved. How I got it approved, this is a wind claim, is this right here. I pulled up the TRI detail for your sidewall. I also drew out exactly how Lou's detail was on a piece of graph paper and I submitted to the insurance carrier, okay? They have to visualize this shit. You have to be detail oriented when it comes to this shit, right? They have no conceptual understanding. Like, if you just think you're gonna get this approved over the phone, it's not gonna happen. Because these people, like, they went to adjuster school for 6 hours and they think they're a roofer. Like, you have to draw it out and like visually for them. Does that make sense? So I sent them a detail very similar to this one, and I explained the code required tie-in of the underlayment. And I asked them a very simple question, Mr. Adjuster, how exactly would you suggest I tie in my minimums on my underlayment 4 inches up that wall underneath the lath and the wall cladding? How would you expect me to do that, Mr. Adjuster? In addition to that, how am I supposed to swap out that flashing that's oxidized and rusted? You know what I'm saying? Does everybody see what I'm talking about here? Yes. So we got stucco, I think it was like, what, $5,000 of stucco repair?
Something like that.
4 or 5 grand of stucco repair. We swapped out all the flashings, redid all the stucco, repainted. You know, it was a good payday. So that all started with effective takeoff. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so, this was an insurance tile job, a lot of us are selling refelts, my guys have been selling refelts and stuff like that. And I think Drew, you touched on this a little bit. We go to a house like this, no leaks, in where the head wall is, and there's no leaks, it's time for a new underlayment. And I go and I find something like this, cause you find it all the time without the J panning, and you have to tie into it. Now you're like, we got 5,000 from insurance, but how am I supposed to compete? Cause I'm tight with 500, 550 square competing, and all of a sudden I'm like, whoa, Mr. Jones, I gotta take a half your stucco out, a foot up the wall to make it proper. We have no leaks. Bricks, roofing will do it, no problem, they said, just tie it in. So like how I understand, like I know you for a long time and I understand your attention to detail and wanting to do shit completely the right way, I understand that. But like me and Jimmy, I mean, I reused, I had not fucked with shit like that before because I'm gonna outbid myself. So I know you were talking about insurance and you were talking about big $250,000 sand cast, which I don't know who in here has done a $250,000 sand cast, raise your hand, so the numbers are low. We're more out there doing retail felt, refelt.
Yeah, so,
You wanna title that?
yeah, no, that's an easy one. So this is an opportunity to upsell, right? Now, there's 2 ways that this could be done. If it's a refelt and you're selling it for retail and they're already like, we don't have money, blah, blah, blah. There's 2 options there. The one option, which is not the best option, but it is an acceptable option, is this. Instead of fucking with the stucco at all or taking that J-pan out, what the crew can do is they can flatten this lip on the J-pan. They can now run their underlayment up the wall, install the new J-pan, and then #1 counter flashing. At a minimum, you have to paint match and paint that fucking #1. Because adding that exterior paint on top of the caulking on that lip of that #1 is gonna extend the life of that flashing. If there is no money in the job, and they cannot afford for you to bring a stucco guy out, that is how you're gonna run it.
Did everyone understand that? You're putting in an additional layer of flashing with caulking, with your paint as an additional sealant, correct?
Additional layer. You're sliding underlayment and.
So there was our old J-pan. We flattened the lip, we flattened the bottom of the J, right there, we flattened that, we ran our underlayment up. We're gonna install our new J-pan. And then we're gonna install #1 counter flashing right here, which is gonna kinda look like this, and it's gonna run up that wall. And then they're gonna put a bead of caulk right here on that lip all the way up. It's very ugly.
It is horrid.
It is
It's abhorrent.
But that is the acceptable way without digging into the stucco. So with this detail, you don't have to charge anything extra. You're good at your normal price per square.
Let's see a bad example.
Yeah, let me see.
Or you could put the.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's what he's talking about.
I've
That's
seen that
exactly
before.
it.
Yeah, it's
So
not good.
at the minimum, you want to get that painted.
Kind of sticks out.
Or put that counter flashing on backwards, reversed.
I don't use number one personally. I do half by five across.
A little more aesthetically pleasing.
Half by five will make it look more cosmetic.
It will make it look more cosmetic, yes.
Way more.
But half by five is, this is it's half inch by 5 inches of metal. And then counter flashing is this.
Behind it.
That's true. Yeah.
current or something.
About 3 inches. About 3 inches.
You said half inch by 5 inches.
Yeah. So I mean, and what you can do, that's your opportunity to go back to the client and say, hey, there's 2 ways to properly do your flashing. This is the acceptable way, that's not gonna cost you anything, we can get it done cheap and fast. Now, if you want to do this like the best way possible. Good and tight, right? It's gonna take a little bit longer, it's a little bit more coordination, it's gonna cost you a little bit more money, but what we can actually do is, once we do the tear off, we can have the stucco crew come in, they can cut the stucco, take out the old J-pan, we can run the new underlayment up the lath, and then we can install the J-pan with a Z-bar and install new stucco, paint to match, and it's gonna look like a brand new, beautiful new build. If that's what you want. So those are your options. And I texted our stucco guy because I was curious what his price per square foot is. He hasn't gotten back to me yet. So once we figure out that pricing, you can essentially calculate that into your estimate. If you look at your Eagle View and you look at your measurements for your walls, you can just times that linear footage by how much the stucco is gonna cost. And then, you know, as a general contractor, you're gonna automatically put 20% on top of that. 10% to cover your office costs, 10% profit in your pocket. So it's not like you're not hitting a lick when you go to do that, but you're making a little extra scratch, and you're doing it the right way. But it's all about transparency with that client. You gotta have that conversation with them, so then they know when the job's done, they look up and they see that fucking counter flashing and go, that's what I was talking about.
Show them this picture.
Yeah, show them that picture. Yeah, show them that picture. And then they'll be able to make that decision on whether or not they want to do that, spend the extra money or whatever. That's how you would go about that.
Yeah, for sure, thank you.
Because that, I mean, most refelts, that's what I've always done, is just run it that way.
The other thing too is if you're swapping the profile of tile, we have to take that into account on our head wall flashes. If you're going after sand, if you're going after clay, and you're going back into like a W or a flat tile, that head wall index, you're going to be left with a gaping hole between the flashing and the tile, right? So we have to take that into account. We have to adjust that, right? We can't just willy-nilly change the index and profile of the tile without taking into account the domino effect.
Do I need to do anything extra because there's actually a house in Glendale, they're going from tile and they wanna go into shingle?
Yes.
What do I gotta do?
Well, you're taking the roofing assembly that is this thick and you're dropping it down to a roofing assembly that is this thick.
Yes.
So if you guys can kind of use your imagination a little bit and follow me, like all your head walls, you're gonna be left with 3 inches, 2 inches of fucking hole cavity that we have to then re-index and address. Does that make sense?
Kinda.
You gotta raise
Kind
it
of.
up.
So, picture this.
So how do I raise it up?
You gotta bring it
You
down.
gotta bring everything down.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to
I'll
get
bring
like,
everything down.
Stucco
Yeah.
guy.
So it goes back to,
Is it
it's kind of that.
No,
what is it, paneling?
no, it's a W Monier tile.
No,
what's on the wall?
The house,
The
what's it
walls,
made out of?
It's gonna be stucco.
Yes.
So,
Get a stucco guy out there.
back to what Chad was just talking about, same deal, right? You do the first detail, where they tear it out, or they don't tear it out, drop it, number 1, counter flash it, or half by 5, and paint it. Or you have a stucco guy out, and get it in the building envelope.
And it's in here. So it's gonna be,
Well, for shingle, you're not gonna use a half by 5, you're gonna
here's the house.
flash that roof to wall the way you would on a shingle.
The step flash.
Step flash it.
I use hack by.
I gotta hear one.
I use half by for anything. Half-size. Just more better.
And they want to go back to the shingle, so.
Okay, yeah, I'll have to look at it, I don't even know if there is a head wall on there anywhere.
I'll send you over.
But yeah, we'll look at it.
Under the half? Under the half?
No, the half-size.
What else do we have to change if we are changing, if we're doing R&R, changing tile profiles?
Index.
Flashings?
Bands.
Well, yeah, they're getting changed, but I'm talking.
But you have to change the pipes.
But if it's something that you're changing, you only have to change if you're changing profile of tile. If you're going from high to low.
We're changing everything out. What do we have to modify? What do we have to switch to different material?
Yeah, we gotta change everything. We gotta change the side. Our nailer boards. Right, so we got nailer boards on the ridges and on the hips, and they are, you know, either 2x6, 2x4, 2x2, depending on what profile tile. So if you're going from a W profile tile or a sand cast down to a flat, we have to drop that down, right? So that's something that's a lot of fun. You got a big house, that's a lot of lumber. That's something you want, if you got an R&R, you're doing an order, you wanna get with Miller Lumber, get with Home Depot, preferably get with Miller Lumber, it's a lot cheaper, and have all that wood on site.
Got a better wrap there too.
Miller or Jacob? Yeah, Miller is, if you guys aren't ordering large quantities of wood from Miller, you're losing a lot of money. But yeah, so another thing to document and pay attention to. Does that make sense? Does everybody know what nailer board is? No? No? The fuck out, dude. So on the ridges and hips, there's gonna be a picture of 2x6 coming down the hip, and then you have your trim tile, right, that's gonna sit on top, and that's what's getting nailed into. They're nailing into that nailer board. 2x4, 2x6, whatever, depending on your profile.
Does everybody know where the ridge and the hips are? So where the ridge and the hips are, there is a piece of lumber that runs the entire length of that ridge and hip. And that's what the tiles get nailed into after it's usually installed with what, B20 or some sort of.
You could wrap it with whatever.
Some sort of fucking wrap on it, so if you've ever seen a tile roof or you're taking it apart, you know, you look under there and you may see this black shit wrapped over the top of it. You may not even know it's a piece of board there, but there's a fucking board underneath there that needs to get changed.
Yeah, so that's why I put this too. So when you are ordering, even when you got your normal underlayment, either your APOC, your high temp, self-clear, whatever you're getting, on your material order, get at least a roll of Fontana, your normal G40 to wrap. You want to wrap those nailer boards, right? You don't want to burn through your fucking expensive underlayment wrapping nailer boards. Then cut strips out of this and wrap it for cheap. It's just like best practice stuff. And then same deal with the nailer boards. This is so light or weather block. And it's going to be different, right? So we have hip weather block and we have ridge weather block. And not only are they different profiles, obviously for ridges and hips, because they're angled different, they're different profiles. If the tile's a different profile, these are specific, same as the bird stop. So document that, these are specific to the brand and profile. Does that make sense? Yeah, I think we left off the underlayment. So mortar, if you got a normal refill going on and you just got termination points, you're not mortar setting, it's not clay or sand cast, just get a bag or 2 bags. Right, there's 10 ball joints with mortar termination points. A bag's usually gonna do you right. 1x2x4 lumber, what is that for?
That's for your batten strips,
Patent strips.
Good job.
Good job. So a good rule of thumb, guys, just to make it easy, and not another thing with tile, when you guys are ordering your underlayment, you can go off, I don't really go off my waste factor, I go off the tear off quantity. Because usually you're gonna get charged by the crew for your tear off quantity. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not applying waste. Like, I will get an extra roll of what I'll do my math and get an extra roll or two, but I'm bidding off the tear off quantity. So if I got a 28 square roof, I'm getting 28 bundles. Right, one bundle per square is a good rule of thumb. You're gonna have a little bit extra, but fucking whatever. If they're like 12, 13 bucks a month, you're gonna try with more. You'll never be short. And then same thing, this is the weather block, soul light, that's for the ridge, just document. So if I got like 90 linear feet of ridge, I'm gonna add some sauce to it, so I'm not short on soul light.
It's something back on the felt, so you got the APOC, the high temp, and the veer.
Yep.
So which one lasts the longest? I'm guessing the more expensive one?
So these are actually, these all have the same manufacturer warranty. They're all limited lifetime.
Okay.
So they're all technically, I don't know, the beer one's weird, it kind of reads as like a 30-year now, but these two are supposed to be 50, limited lifetime, as long as what's on top of it is last, so a 50-year
Okay.
underlayment. Manufacturer warranty. Yeah, and then this, again, on the G40, that's just a wrapping nail boards. Same as shingle, get your ice and water for your valves. So, for batten strips, you can either get staples, just don't tell Greg, or you can get framing nails. Why would staples maybe be a bad thing on batten strips?
They don't do it right, it'll add more holes.
They fucking miss all the time. And if you got one of these underlayments, you can't miss. Yeah, not a huge deal, but if you're doing a whole roof in like G40 and you got a crown of a leg in one in batten strip and one in this product, you got a pinhole leak now. So,
Guess what is the hardest leak that I've ever had to find?
staple. Probably the one we were just
On
talking about.
residential building envelope, it is a staple that they walk the fucking crown off the 1x2. And it doesn't even, technically speaking, if you don't catch it, it doesn't even fucking matter what kind of underlayment that you're using. Yes, it'll seal it for like 5 years, but when that thing gets exposed to water, that staple will rust. I don't care if it's hot in a gallon, it will rust. And when that rust happens, by the time that makes it through, the underlayment is not gonna self-heal at that point in time. It's too far past the install date. So all of a sudden, you got a pinhole leak, it's a whole fucking nightmare. Now, if you're using one of those underlayments and they walk it off, you can use modified roofing cement and seal it up, because it's never gonna be exposed to the UVs. But you have to catch it. And that is the number one thing that I see across the board. I don't care if it's Romney, I don't care if it's Spearhead, I don't care if it's the most dialed roofing installer that you've ever seen. They always walk the crown off the batten system.
They're gonna miss.
They're gonna
So
miss.
would you recommend not getting the staples?
I use framing nails. And me and Romney, there's a point of contention between me and him where he's like, dude, I always use staples. And I'm like, well, I'll give you the gun. You can use my fucking gun. Like, I don't give a fuck. And he's like, trust me on this, trust me. I found 125 staples walked off the fucking, and I love Romney. Romney's my go-to personally. But that is the reason why I use nails. Because you're taking all your penetrations, you're cutting them in half, right? So you have one penetration as opposed to you have a ring shank, which means that your wind uplift value just went through the fucking roof. And if they walk it off, they know they walked it off. There's no way to hide it.
You know what I mean?
Does that make sense?
What framing nails?
21 degree, 2 3/8 inch, ring shank framing nail.
So same framing nails you get for redeck would be what you use for this.
So don't even order the staples probably?
You get with the crew, get with the crew first, right? Because if you if you do get nails and you don't say anything to them, they're gonna pull up with their staple guns and they're not gonna have the guns to blow.
And you,
the back.
Doing a job big enough, also you're more than likely to
So-
walk this with them doing that.
Yeah.
So if you are doing staples, when all the batons are laid, give it a walk. Just walk, document everything. If you see a fucking leg hanging off, get the guys, have a bucket of sealant there and have them just fucking clip it and go over it. You know, no big deal. But just
If
make
you
sure
catch it
you're
on the
doing that
first day, it's not too much of an issue, but if you don't catch it at all, it can be a fucking issue.
down the road.
Yeah, it's, the only harder leak to find, in my experience, was me finding out the hard way a conductor head can leak through the fucking scupper. That was a nightmare. And then when you have a leak on a low slope commercial building envelope that runs across the B panel, that is the hardest point of intrusion to locate and find. But a lot of you guys are never gonna have to deal with that. So like in terms, this is the hardest leak that you'll have to fucking find. It's a nightmare, in my opinion. So I use framing now.
Does that make sense to everybody? Alright, so for your roofing nails, it's gonna be contingent on the crew. Some of them like to use 3-inch for rigs, some like to use 4. If it's stucco, get 5. Like on your rigs, if you have those stucco pop outs, or any stucco, get 5-inch nails. But if you have any questions, get with the crew before. Just like, hey man, shoot a picture, like what size nails you want for this. And before you send the material off. Or if you send it off, call Robert Jr., whoever, and they'll swap it on the truck and put it in.
They carry the 2 3/8 elite.
I don't know. I don't think they do. So, yeah, I'm not sure if they have the framing nails at any of the supply houses. That's usually a Home Depot or a Miller Lumber purchase, so just keep that in mind too if you're not gonna use staples. But you're not gonna get those through that. Get a box of NP1 sealant, just your typical silicone. And then your paint. So decide beforehand, get with the customer and see what they wanna do to match their accessories. It's probably gonna be cheaper to get a quart or gallon of paint, and hand paint them. Or just get with the customer, see what color they want the accessories painted, and then get a box or 6 cans, or depending on how big the roof is, how many accessories, like, if you have, get at least a box. If it's a big roof and you got a lot of dormers and shit, get 2. What?
That's extra money.
It's extra money, yes.
Paint.
Yeah, spray paint, yeah. It's expensive. It's expensive. So, back to the 2 different methods, that was, the template method. This is NSRS through Acculix. So it's gonna look the same, guys. So if you guys can nail the template and know what to change every time, but you wanna go through SRS, like this is gonna be, it's got it all on there, you're gonna delete what you don't need. And if you want a point of reference, you can pull up the template and know what you're getting. But it's, again, if you kinda get familiar with what's gonna be different from a shingle roof, you're getting all your normal shit, and then you're just paying attention to your profiles. I personally think it's a lot easier to do it the email way, even though this is all on here, but like, you gotta search different profiles, you gotta search for sometimes it doesn't pop up. Like, it's up to you guys, I'm not gonna tell you who to order through, but I think it's a little more of a pain in the ass. Again, your 30 square roof, these are your bat strips, 1x2 by 4. Your N17s, these are 10,000 count boxes. So if you got a 20 square roof, just get one. And then same, get with the crew if you got questions on nails. If it's a flat profile, get 2-inch. Fuck out of here, Sammy. Drip edge. So, if you do it through SRS, what might be a huge fucking issue if you're not paying attention?
Order a bunch of stuff that you don't mean to order.
That with your quantities. Right, pay attention. Oh, God, pay attention to your quantities. I guess it's not that big of a deal with this, with built up, it gets sketchy. Just make sure your rolls are rolls, pieces, rolls each, whatever, just make sure it all lines up.
When you're doing it through, AccuLinks and like you said, sometimes you have a flat roof that has different profiles, it's like ridge and hip shingles, how do you specify that on here?
You talking about for the components that are specific?
Yeah.
You gotta search, so.
It'll be a different thing, you can search, just like if you get Certainty Bridge Cap instead of Owens Corning,
Okay.
it's gonna be a similar search, you just gotta find the specific one.
Okay.
That's part of what he's saying, that it's, I think it's easier too with Elite, you can just type in, I need Solite for S Eagle tile, and then
Yes.
they'll figure it out in their system. You don't have to like go search through all the
So
Eagle shit.
that first template, you send that directly to Eagle as opposed to doing it through SRS?
To Robert Jr. at Elite.
Yeah, and I got all his info, as we go a little farther, it'll have all his shit on there, but yeah, so, I mean, you find your underlayment, the same as shingle, it's not on there, search it, but the tile one populates pretty much all the underlayments and your typical stuff, but the Solite weather block, it's not gonna come up, it's not gonna populate all of them. So, you're gonna have to search, but.
See that bottom one, that's like an example, so it's an Eagle Capistrano galvanized bird stop. Then you have to go click on it and get the color. But if you're doing Westlake W, then you would just go through on the search bar and just find the symbol.
Like normal.
So it's a little more work on your end versus having them figure it out. Same deal with the flashings, I mean, it makes sense, make sure you're getting your steel, your base pipe flashing, your galvanized, and then your aluminum tops, pipe jacks and T-tops. If this pops up, don't worry about it, leave a note. They'll give you what you want.
We're still talking about pipe jacks?
We're just waiting for you to get back. I don't want you to miss anything.
Everybody take a picture of this. This is Robert Jr.'s number, he works at the Gilbert location, but they're in Tucson, where you need like just, you'll send your, thing to his email, and he'll be back to you rather quickly. Just let him know in an email. So everybody got it? Here's kind of a, so there'll be two, it's not gonna be, this is gonna be his email, CC, you're gonna CC. Right here in the subject line, just have the PW number for the job, that's it. So just have the PW number, and then down here, attach the material order for the, this address, and then let them know when you want it delivered. Say, hey, we're cool, like, I'm not building this for a month, so we schedule it for, and then get it scheduled, have it drop, have all the materials drop the day before. If you just push this through and don't give a date, and you order tile, now you got, especially depending on where it's at, you might be blocking a whole street with tile that's now sitting there for, if it's HOA, like it gets fucking dicey, so just make sure you're telling him when this is scheduled and when you want it delivered. Anybody have questions on anything we went over? Now is the time.
I'll call you.
Yeah.
No, no.
I'll call you then?
No, we're not talking about that. Well, what's your questions? You gotta understand, like, if everybody does that across the board, whatever.
I get it, that's why we're here.
So like,
People do that anyway, it doesn't matter.
I am trying desperately to get us out of like like, we need to be in a rhythm here. So like,
and ask questions, like, let's make this a
There's
conversation.
no dumb questions, guys. I know that this is a lot of information for you guys that missed the
Well, I got
initial 101. Like, this is probably,
I got a question when it comes to bidding and like you said we can't go below that 500. We're gonna basically shoot ourselves in the foot. 'Cause a lot of people say, "Oh, what's your bid or estimate?"
this is just a good baseline. You can, depend on the situation, just get with your upline before you shoot out a bid lower than this.
All right.
You can definitely get lower than this, but I'm just giving you a baseline to where no matter what, like if you do this number, like you're not gonna fucking go negative.
If I understand what you're talking about, when you're talking about bidding, are we talking about tile now?
Yeah.
So,
This is refill also.
the value that you're bringing to anything that we do, right, at Pro West is that you're managing the project, right? Anybody who's cutting these fucking jobs at bottom dollar is either doing the fucking work themselves or blowing and going and they're not managing the project, right? So you're creating value in the fact that you, from start to finish, everything from these sidewall flashings that we were talking about, to managing a project, right, to making sure that plywood's on their fucking paver driveway, to taking everything into consideration with the HOA, the community, becoming friends with everybody, making nice with everybody, like that's what Pro West does, you know what I mean? You've seen plenty of construction sites, an absolute shit show and a disaster. You can have that for bottom dollar, you know what I mean? What you're getting with me is that I'm here from start to finish, days before, bringing out supervisors, inspecting everything that could go wrong with this, making sure that your fucking street is neat and clean, nobody's gonna have their fucking Bentley scratched by a telehandler driving up and down the street, you know what I mean? Like, I'm the guy, right? You can hire any fucking jack off to put tile on your roof, or refill, or anything. But what Pro West sells is management. You're a project manager, you know what I mean? So higher cost values in what I'm pitching is me. I'm the value, right?
Okay.
So you can find dudes that'll do this work for you all day long that won't even ever show up here. They're gonna tell you, hey, it's $350, $400 a square, and fucking they're like, ooh, I like the sound of that. But your cars are gonna get fucked up, your property's gonna get fucked up, your roof might leak, I can't guarantee that. He may be a fucking master at what he does, but they might not speak English, they might not be able to talk to anybody in the fucking community, you know what I mean? That's the value you're bringing.
They might say they give you a warranty, but then if something
For
happens, you try to call them, and then it's like, the number you called has been disconnected, sort of situation.
Can't find nobody.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
That's
also
where-
longevity of business, dude. We're pretty blessed to have like, contractors do not last as long as we have lasted.
2.5 years is the average lifespan of a roofing company in Arizona.
So that is a huge fucking pain point, dude. That is a huge pain point. The fact that we are in business 20 plus years, means that we are not going anywhere. We're PE backed, like these are selling points that you can bring up to introduce a pain point with your guys' competition. Because if you look at the rest of our competition, even the main ones, they've only been in business for like 2-3 years. And I promise you, some of those guys are not gonna stick around very long. Especially some of them. I'm not gonna name any of them, but like,
No name.
federal indictment type shit.
Just to segue into that, also, like, when we're talking about being backed by private equity, it may sound cool to say $8 billion, but the reality is, at the end of the day, these are massively expensive construction projects. And shit happens on construction sites. I don't know who's been in construction, who's not. People get hurt, people die, fucking shit catches fire, fucking floods happen, electric gets busted, plumbing gets busted, and when it comes to separating us between another company, some of the things that have happened on our job sites and other job sites either has buried a company or, you know, the company backs the project manager and the project and make sure that we are able to mitigate and right any wrongs that happen. So that's not just something to throw out lightly at the door, like 24 years in business. We're gonna be here when you fucking have a problem, you can call back. $8 billion in backing. I don't like to talk about it, but the reality is we're about to embark on a fucking big construction project on your house. It's gonna get dirty, it's gonna be messy, things might get damaged, these other companies, if they gotta fucking fix whatever happened, they might not be able to stomach that cost, you know what I mean? Not saying anything negative about another contractor, but some of these contracting companies are flying by the seat of their pants with taking on projects that they have no business taking on, you know? Does everybody understand that?
Yeah, here's the cool thing, right, about Pro West. God forbid something was to happen, you're not trying to get a blood out of a turnip, right? We got $8 billion in our back pocket. We could burn your house down and build it back 3 different times if we had to.
We're not gonna though.
Yeah.
Probably more than 3 different times,
I do it once, we're not doing it.
We could.
Actually, I think we have, to be quite honest, I'm pretty sure we have.
Well, it's like they say, if you can't buy it twice, you can't afford it.
Wait, this turned from a wind claim to a fire claim? What happened?
Can't buy it twice, you can't.
Let's run some tests real quick. What's, can we go over how many, the furniture ratio or the